It was a decision by the U.S. that Turkey warns could have severe consequences for the ethnically divided island of Cyprus. Last week, the U.S. announced it was ending a decades-long arms embargo on the Greek Cypriot administration. The Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus said the move would cause further tensions in the region. Imposed back in 1987, the U.S. weapons ban aimed to prevent a potential arms race on the island. The Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus's president, Ersin Tatar, said lifting the embargo would embolden their rival government in the south. He also called on Washington to have a more balanced policy. In 1974, Cyprus split along ethnic lines after a Greek-led coup prompted Turkey's armed forces to intervene to protect the local Turkish Cypriot population. Turkish troops have remained as a guarantor power. Founded in 1983, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus has governed the northern part of the island and has engaged in multiple rounds of peace talks with their neighbours to the south. But the last round stalled back in 2017. And to further discuss the end of this arms embargo, joining me from Gazi Magusa in the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is Ahmet Sozen. He is the head of the Political Science and International Relations Department at the Eastern Mediterranean University. And Mehmet Celik, he is the editorial coordinator at daily Sabah. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. So, Ahmet, what's the significance of this latest decision by the U.S. to lift an arms embargo on the Greek Cypriot administration, and what would the regional ramifications be moving forward?
I think that the move in itself is not that huge in the sense that Cyprus became almost like an appetizer, almost like a meze in a bigger table. What I meant by that is that for some years we have been witnessing both on the global level as well as on the regional level, some significant shifts in power configurations, in power balances. The move to lift the embargo is just a small step in this bigger game that is being played on the one hand by the United States in alliance with the Western allies, and on the other hand by Russia together with other countries that are aligning to a certain extent with Russia. Cyprus, and especially Greek Cypriot side in itself, is too small to really create a significance from the lifting of the embargo. It's not going to arms itself to be par with countries like Turkey or the other.
So, Mehmet, what's your take on that? Turkey has condemned the U.S. decision, saying it would lead to an arms race on the island and stoke tensions in Eastern Mediterranean. How realistic is this, and how would that impact Turkey's policy on the island?
Well, first of all, Turkey's policy regarding the island is very clear, and President Erdogan recently, at the UNGA, he's restated that Turkey is for a two-state solution for the island. Now, of course, the move can be symbolic and can have symbolic meaning given the size of the Greek Cypriot side. But I think for the regional balances, I think it also has a symbolic meaning that could be built on. First of all, it affects negatively the peace negotiations, if there's anything left on that, with regards to the island. Secondly, it will of course add to the already boiling tensions between Turkey and Greece. But of course, as the professor said, this is not necessarily. I think we should look at it from a more rather a regional and also a global aspect, as a game ground between Russia and the United States, or between the Western bloc, which is. I think it's reigniting the Cold War tendencies or the Cold War tensions.
Yes.
But of course, this also will maybe initiate or trigger an intra-NATO tension between, or add to the already existing intra-NATO tensions between Turkey and Greece. I think if we look at it from a Turkish perspective, Turkish side sees this as a way of one, containment of Russia, and obviously regionally, this is very important location. But also, I think from another perspective, we can also argue that this is a containment of Turkey's recent moves in the Eastern Mediterranean. So I think from a regional perspective, it is crucially important, though the size of it is maybe symbolic, but I think geostrategically it's very
Yes.
important given Turkey's recent move with Libya, for example.
Yes. So, Ahmet, could this move be construed as part of an organized effort to contain Russia and its influence in the Eastern Mediterranean, since the decision continuing to block Russian warships from its ports?
Absolutely. This is basically a move in the direction of containing Russia in the medium and longer term, sort of the sign of the renewed Cold War between Russia and the Western world. So absolutely, I agree with you.
So President Erdogan, during his speech at the United Nations General Assembly, has called on the world to grant recognition to the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. And in the meantime, there had been some diplomatic contacts between Turkish Cypriot, Azerbaijani and Pakistani officials in New York, where they attended the UN Security United Nations General Assembly. On the backdrop of this landmark decision by the US, is the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus's recognition by Turkey's most closest allies imminent?
I'm not so sure about that. Maybe, but at the same time, look, what you have mentioned, President Erdogan's announcement at the UN, I think that is very significant. It is the very first time in the history of the Cyprus problem where a Turkish executive openly invited the international community to actually recognize the TRNC. That has not been the case in the past. What was basically traditional Turkish foreign policy was to support a bizonal, bicommunal federation in Cyprus, and never openly invite anybody to recognize the TRNC. So I think that's very significant. But that is also significant in the sense that such a move is also opening up, in a way, the Pandora's box, in the sense that it is questioning a very sacred principle in international law, which is territorial integrity.
Yes.
And the Russian war against Ukraine is also something that is questioning this sacrosanct, in a way, concept of territorial integrity.
Yes. So,
so that's very significant.
There's something significant as well, Mehmet. According to some Greek media reports, the U.S. aims to transform the Alexandroupoli port into a naval base. Why do you think it's aiming to do so? What's the strategy behind it? And if it's if it's directed against Turkey, let's say, would you agree?
Well, I think, I mean, yes and no. Yes, because, we know that the armament of these islands, be it through, United States or through Greece, the mainland, I think it's, it's significantly, in a way, against containment of Turkey. On the other hand, we also know that, and given the fact that these are two NATO allies, United States and Turkey, it is very, we could also argue that it's very unlikely that the United States would attack Turkey. United States' foreign policy usually, if they want to intervene in a country, particularly a NATO country, with regards to Turkish political history, we see that they have intervened numerous times through coup d'etats. And to argue that this could be a bill to threaten Turkey, I think it should be rethought. But of course, there is the other side of the coin as well, that Greece has been heavily arming itself,
yes,
through the French support and through the U.S. support, and this is not helping ease the tensions in the region. And
yes,
the United States, this move is also it could trigger new tensions.
So, Ahmet, what's your take on that? Will this naval base give the U.S. a greater access over the operational movement in the Aegean so as to monitor Russian warships activities in the Eastern Mediterranean? And is Greece poised to offer an alternative to the Turkish straits?
Well, look, I think that Greece has been behaving in a way in many issues by following the motto that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So in a way, the more Turkey is moving away from the West, especially in the last several years, due to all these global and regional power shifts that I've mentioned before, in a way, Greece started to substitute itself, to replace itself in place of Turkey. So to create a kind of alternative to Turkey. So instead of engaging in dialogue to resolve its outstanding issues with Turkey, and from time to time we have seen some steps, but we also see that Greece backtracked these steps and instead, as I said, followed the motto that enemy of my enemy is my friend. So in a way, using Turkey's rocky relations with West by forging better relations with the West, in a way, posing itself as a replacement of the NATO ally Turkey in the West.
But Mehmet, what interest does the U.S. have in rising tensions between two NATO allies here, Turkey and Greece? And are these moves likely to push Turkey closer to Russia?
Well, Turkey has been following actually from the Ankara side, when they're taking steps, they've been taking a very critical step with regards to not putting all their eggs in one basket and solely turning their face to the Western world and ignoring the East or Russia or China or India. As you know, the President Erdogan was recently in Samarkand, and this actually, the meetings there were significant for this balance between East and the West. No, Turkey does not want to shift its policy from one side to the other, but the conditions, for example, the U.S. support to YPG in northern Syria, or the treatment, Greece treatment, or the NATO's, ignorant terrorist activities in northern Syria, have shifted Turkey's policy to strengthen its relations with players like Russia. But this doesn't mean that Turkey has given up on its relations with the West. Turkey wants to have a balanced relationship with both sides that puts its Turkish interest, as a priority. Now, if the U.S. wants this to be shaped only through the interests of the Washington, I think this is something that is of the past for Turkey's agenda.
Yes,
this is not something that they will accept, and that's why Turkey's response to this armament in the Eastern Mediterranean or in the Aegean is it's saying that no, I am not going to accept something that will damage my interests in the region.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.